Hi everyone and welcome to my presentation. My name is Caroline Wagner and this is for Entomology 2200 for the spring 2019 semester. I chose to do my presentation on the biology of the eastern carpenter bee. These are my favorite types of bee and I think they are very fascinating in considering their large size compared to every other bee species. I also think it's fascinating that they choose to bore in wood, and I know growing up we had tons of them in our deck and around the house. So I figured I would do a presentation about them. I hope you enjoy it. The scientific name of the eastern carpenter bee is Zlikopa virginica. Zlikopa virginica belongs to the genus Zlikopa. There are over 400 species found in the genus Zlikopa and in the subgenus Zlikopoides, which consists of only 5 species found in the New World. Zlikopa californica is another species which occurs in the United States. The eastern carpenter bee is found throughout the eastern United States and north into Canada. While the eastern carpenter bee is found in North America, most of the other subspecies and species of Zlikopa are found in the tropical and subtropical climates that stretch over most of the continents. Carpenter bees are the largest bees in existence. And while they're similar to bumblebees in that they eat pollen and nectar, they differ in that their abdomen is fuzzless and instead they sport a shiny black exoskeleton devoid of hairs. The carpenter bee got its name from its living preferences. These bees will bore into wood, specifically decks and outside furniture, in order to lay their eggs. The females are the ones who create the nest. They'll use their mandibles to chew up the wood, and they'll mix it with their saliva to create the different cell walls. And unlike a hive, the cells are straight and are divided with multiple cells, usually up to 4 or 5. The males protect the eggs and will aggressively chase away any threat. However, the males do not possess stingers and therefore can never do much damage to any would-be predators. Unlike the males, the females do possess stingers, but the females will spend their time out collecting pollen and nectar and foraging. Carpenter bees prefer untreated woods to nest in, avoiding stained and painted lumber. They will utilize whatever they can find, but they will choose soft woods to nest in if it is readily available to them. Because the female carpenter bee chews into the wood, this is why they prefer to use unpainted and unstained woods. They don't eat the wood, but they do mix it with their saliva, and they just don't like any barriers to the wood. The average carpenter bee is 1/2 to 1 inch long. Considering their large size, it is truly amazing that carpenter bees are able to fly with their delicate wings. Because they're bigger, it makes them appear a larger threat to any would-be predators and help to scare away anyone that would be coming towards their nest. However, their size can also become a hindrance because it makes them an easier target for predation. Their size can also become a hindrance when they are faced with certain types of flowers. Instead of entering the flower from an organic opening, the bees must cut into the side of a flower to retrieve the pollen. In this sense, the bees are stealing the pollen from the flower without benefiting the plant. Carpenter bees will access open-faced flowers as normal bumblebee would and pollinate these flowers. However, though, since they cut into the side of tube-like flowers and aren't leaving behind any pollen, they're essentially stealing from these flowers and not pollinating them. Carpenter bees are still important pollinators despite of this and the fact that they are seen as a pest often. They play a very important role in the ecosystem, and they are an extremely important pollinator of open-faced flowers. And even though they are destructive to man-made structures, we need to make sure we protect the health of them for our environment. Their large size and strange living arrangements make them a truly fascinating species of bee to discover.